And now, please welcome AMD's President and CEO, Dr. Lisa Su.
All right, good evening. It's wonderful to see all of you here today. Thank you for joining us, and welcome to Capsaicin here in LA. This is a very special night for us at AMD, really bringing together one of the largest audiences of content creators and designers ever to show you our newest products and our most amazing capabilities. So some of you were with us last year at Siggraph, and we really laid out a strategy to address the unique needs of content creators and designers around the world. And since then, we have delivered on a number of great new products, and we have even more to come today. So when you really look at our industry and what's happening, the demand for computing is absolutely incredible. Whether you're talking about gaming or rendering or content creation, all of these workloads are incredibly visually intensive and incredibly computationally intensive, and require increasingly more powerful computing and graphics technologies to make these applications really come to life. And for game developers today, you're working with terabytes of data to create even more immersive worlds and even higher resolutions. And then when you look at what we're doing with server farms, we really see petabytes of data to render even the more realistic digital content. And now, when we go to machine intelligence and artificial intelligence, we're seeing even more increases in computing power because we're each generating exabytes of data, and to make all of this data useful, we need a lot more horsepower. And so all of these applications are really motivating us, and that has been what AMD has been focused on over the last several years. Now, let's talk just a little bit about technology. So, what's the right architecture for all of these workloads? Some in the industry would say that CPUs are the most important architecture for these new workloads. And some others in the industry would argue that GPUs are the center of the universe. But the truth is, neither of these can really do the job alone. And we actually believe that today's workloads really require the best of both worlds. We need the power of both a high-performance CPU and a high-performance GPU working hand in hand to create these most powerful solutions. And AMD is truly the only company in the world that has both a high-performance CPU and a high-performance GPU and the right vision. Our vision is really to uniquely combine these solutions into systems so that you can dramatically change the game. Now, we have made significant investments over the last couple of years to address these challenges, and I am super duper proud today to say that we have an incredible portfolio of products which we started rolling out early this year for the high-performance computing markets. So starting first with Ryzen. In March of this year, we introduced our industry-leading Ryzen family of high-performance CPUs that offered the first real innovation in desktop PCs in many, many years. And when you take a look at what Ryzen has been able to do, our highest-end Ryzen 7 processors offer incredible performance with 8 cores and 16 threads at less than $500. What do you guys think of that? And we also added our Ryzen 5 and our Ryzen 3 products that bring that same value proposition of more cores and more threads across the entire family. And frankly, the feedback on Ryzen has been incredible. I mean, I am so proud of when I hear from users about what they're doing with Ryzen, and including things like winning Product of the Year recently at the European Hardware Awards. Now, last month, we also introduced a new family of data center processors called EPYC. And for EPYC, this family offers, again, incredible performance at every price point for single-socket and dual-socket processors. And the formula is really very similar. We offer more cores, more threads, more I/O, more memory bandwidth, so that real data center operators and cloud providers can do so much more to solve the enterprise, cloud, and machine intelligence challenges. Now, I have to say, though, tonight we have an incredible show for you, and I am very, very proud to introduce a few new additions to our family. Ryzen Threadripper is our 16-core, 32-thread offering. Are you guys excited about 16 cores and 32 threads? This is simply the highest performance processor ever produced for the desktop. And it's really built for you guys, okay? It's built for content creators. And we are going to show you just what you can do with Threadripper, and I think you're going to be pretty amazed at what Threadripper can do. But it's not just about the CPU, it's also about the GPU, and so we decided to bring these two together tonight, and we are also extremely proud to introduce our Vega family of GPUs. And we know that there's incredible anticipation around Vega, and we are extremely excited to show you Vega in action tonight as well. And starting from our Radeon Vega RX, it's all about gamers. It's all about how we can deliver an incredibly smooth 4K gaming experience at extremely attractive price points. And then we take Vega into our Radeon Instinct server accelerators and Radeon Vega Pro, and we have some amazing demos for you tonight to show what you can do with 24 teraflops of computing performance in a single GPU. 24 teraflops. And most importantly, what we'll show you tonight is that we can really do amazing things when we bring these products together, pushing the boundary of what's possible. And so tonight is really about you. I mean, we are just super excited that you've joined us today, and we really want to show you what happens when you can bring great technology with incredibly smart people and really put together, creators and designers in this new world. And so when we look at the landscape, this is an incredible time to be a creator. I mean, it's incredibly fun to be where we are today. And at AMD, we love people who push the limits of technology. It is really about telling new stories, coming up with more immersive experiences, and really doing something that's not possible with the technology that we had yesterday. And so when you look at it, today there are over 10 million professional content creators, many of you who are sitting in this room. And we know that you are solving some of the world's toughest challenges in terms of manipulating very, very large data sets and trying to create truly realistic content. We know you guys need the best, and we want to give it to you. And we're also paying attention to the growing number of amateur content creators, perhaps like me and my family. And we really believe that there are about 1 billion aspiring content creators because the world is becoming an incredibly open place. And anyone can create content for all of us to consume. And so at AMD, we are really aspiring to bring the high-performance computing horsepower needed to all of these users so that everyone can create in this new world. So now you know a little bit about what motivates us. This is an incredibly exciting time to be in the computing industry, and it's even a more exciting time to be at AMD. Never before in the history of computing has any company delivered more cores, more threads, more compute units per GPU, more I/O, more memory bandwidth in every system. And now to show you what you can do with all this technology, let me turn the show over to Raja Koduri, our head of our Radeon Technologies group.
I can't see you all up there with all the lights glaring in my eyes, but what an incredible time to be here. What an incredible time to be at AMD, and what an incredible time to be in this computing industry at this point of time. But you all know that already. You all feel it. But what is this 20? Let me tell you stuff that you don't know about. And this is, I'll start this section off with a little bit of my personal journey in computer graphics. This is my 20th anniversary of attending Siggraphs. Now, for a computer graphics nerd, geek, however you want to, your choice word to insult, is, you can never forget your first Siggraph, right? Going to first Siggraph is, a religious experience. And, there are many in the audience who would laugh at, me making a big deal out of my 20th Siggraph, but because they've been coming here for 40 Siggraphs. I know some of you. I won't mention who you are because, you look very young. But the one thing about Siggraph that is special to me, there are many things special about Siggraph. The chance to meet the best and bestest of the computer graphics minds, the show there, amazing papers that happen every year, advances in research and all. But the one thing that was special to me always was the electronic theater, where you got to see the best computer graphics work, animation work every year. And whenever I saw something cool in those electronic theater things, the first thing I used to think is that I got to go show this to Rajamouli. Roy mentioned Rajamouli is in the audience. So I used to collect these DVDs to take to India. And he's attending his first Siggraph this year. So that's also a special thing this year. So I wanted to get kind of, the personal, emotional stuff out of the way so that we can get to the business. There's one other thing special about this Siggraph is my daughter, my first daughter, my only daughter, actually. She was hopefully. She was born 20 years ago, and she is here attending her first Siggraph too. And that's the picture of me and her 20 years ago when she was just born. And these 20 years have been, quite amazing. It's a blast. It's a breeze. It's kind of like, the time has passed in days and weeks rather than years and decades. Amazing things have happened in 20 years of graphics of evolution. Now, along with my daughter, my son, Nikhil, is also for the first time kind of, attending one of AMD's events. And yesterday, he was at one of the press event we did. And he said, after watching what we do here, he said, "Oh, now it makes complete sense to me why you are never home." And that's because the amazing stuff that we've been through. So let me walk you through in a few seconds what I've been through, right? We started with 2D acceleration. We started with 2D graphics and accelerating 2D graphics, and immersed the generation with wonderful games. We enabled Windows and the user interfaces as you know it, as you enjoy it in many, many devices. They all started there. We started accelerating 2D. And then we had legends, John Carmack and Tim Sweeney, paved the way for us for real-time 3D gaming on the PC. First they started, if you remember, on the CPUs. And then it migrated to GPUs. Then shaders came along. And they were a big revolution. You could express your full lighting and material equations on the GPU. And all you needed was lots of GPU shaders. And we gave lots of GPU shaders. We went from 1 shader up to 64 shaders now, right? And each shader now, in the last 15 years, is running over 8 to 9 times faster. So that's over 500 times acceleration in, I'd say, roughly 14, 15 years. So we gave a lots of shaders. And then we started surrounding ourselves by pixels. We took advantage of this GPU acceleration. We put lots of pixels in each display, multiple displays, surround gaming, high-density displays. And now the display tech is at a really, really good place with HDR displays, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We're talking 4K displays. And now we are also talking about 8K displays. And from surrounding ourselves with pixels, the game engines and the game developers also have been getting better and better and started incorporating many, many features that were only found in offline renderers. The games got looking much, much better, much more immersive. And VR happened in these 20 years as well, in the last few years. We now have consumer virtual reality, and it is increasing the demand for faster and faster pixels. But all of this is in the pursuit of what I call, what others in the industry call this full presence. How do we get computer graphics to a place where you immerse yourself in it and you can't tell the difference between reality and the simulated virtual reality? And to me, my inspiration is always, I wake up in the morning, I go in front of the mirror, I look at the mirror and say, oh, the mirror is so far advanced than what we do every day. Until we reach the quality of the mirror, we all have jobs, we all have work to do. And when we do kind of brute force mathematical calculation, it looks like we need at least 1 million times faster hardware to get there. But amazing things are happening. I want to give a shout out to folks who have been pushing real-time rendering for a long, long time, and we'll have a lot of that throughout the evening. But the first quick thing, I want to give a shout out to Otoy and Jules. I know Jules is somewhere in the audience. They got the Octane rendering, now Octane renderer working on AMD GPUs, and they have an exemplary demo running on the new iMacs on the Octane renderer. And to see these kind of pictures produced on a GPU for a graphics guy is just amazing. And AMD has also been contributing and helping the rendering community with our ProRender tool. And some of the images that are being rendered on this GPU-based renderers are quite amazing. I just wanted to put this picture out there because we have a big party after. Please, drink responsibly or whatever, render responsibly, but we'll have fun. So, my goal in life, at least for the last few years, as you kind of come to grips with your mortality, is that I want to achieve this, quality of a mirror before I'm dead or retired. Okay, simple, right? And I think the answer is closer than we ever thought. And the answer is the combination of CPUs, GPUs, game engines, and last but not least, what's happening in the world of machine intelligence. So you combine these 4 things, I think we are much, much closer, maybe a year away, 2 away, 3 away, than 10 years away or 20 years away. And that is the key of what you're going to see today, right? And when I started in this business, photorealistic rendering shots, like the ones I showed you before, a couple of shots, we used to talk in terms of how many tens of hours these shots took. Now then they become like, how many hundreds of minutes. Now it's amazing. I was at one of the top rendering studios here in LA a couple of days ago. They were showing scenes like this on a single workstation. They said, oh, we can render this scene in 100 seconds. So we're talking in seconds now, not in minutes and hours. So from 100 seconds to milliseconds doesn't seem that far of a stretch. And extraordinary work is going on to bring these minutes down to milliseconds. Now, the key to solving this problem is not just hardware. It is clever algorithms. And anyone who understands these algorithms and architectures will tell you that you need both CPU and GPU. CPU is great for sparse parallel algorithms, and GPU is great for dense parallel algorithms. And if you let me kind of, geek about it, we'll be here all night long. So no one, by the way, understands what I'm talking about better than my first guest, the legendary Tim Sweeney, the CEO of Epic Games. Please welcome Tim onto the stage. Tim, great to have you here with us. I'm really, really honored to have you, and I can't thank you enough for joining us on this, on this journey. And we have been working almost 22 years, 24 years. I can't, count. It'll show both of our age. But let me start off with the whole premise. How far do you think the game engines have come, and also how many months, years they are away from achieving this kind of full presence, this photorealistic 60 frames per second?
Well, Raja, since we began working together, I think that GPUs have grown in performance about a factor of 1 million compared to the software renders that we used to run on our 90 megahertz processors back then. So it's come a phenomenal way, far more than anybody had even imagined at that time. But I think we are actually at the point of photorealism being achieved in real time. For example, the movie Star Wars Rogue One included several real-time character shots of the droid K2SO composited into the movie.
Yeah. I saw the YouTube videos, and I was thrilled.
Yeah, it's really astonishing. There's a real-time television series being produced in real time. General Motors is using real-time game engine technology to power car commercials that run at 60 frames per second. So we're just seeing the very beginning of this, and the rubber is meeting the road now.
Yeah, and Tim, you, of all the legends in this industry, you also have been one of the biggest proponents of leveraging the CPU as well, right? And where do you think things are going with with AMD and the industry following to finally bring many cores onto everybody's machine?
Well, what AMD has done recently with Threadripper, I think, is one of the greatest breakthroughs in the history of CPUs, bringing 16 cores, 32 threads of performance, not to some super high-end server market, but at a price that's well within reach of gamers and of indie content creators. I think this really opens up the CPU roadmap compared to the sleepy track it was been on for the past few years.
Jim Anderson is here, and I'm sure he's thrilled to hear you say that what the team has done is breakthrough on Threadripper. So Tim, before we wrap up, we have a couple of surprises. But before we do that, what is the #1 thing you want from us, from the hardware industry, and from AMD in particular?
Well, the most critical thing is to continue delivering these really substantial performance gains, but not only delivering them in theory, but delivering them at economical price points to make them within reach of all of these consumers who are playing the games. Because we, the elite content creator audience here at Siggraph, are not very price constrained, but we're building content for hundreds of millions of gamers and consumers and movie watchers out there. And the more we can get awesome computing performance and graphics performance into their hands, the faster that moves the industry forward.
I mentioned to you this afternoon, Tim, that we just launched a new series of Vega graphics cards, and that we broke a big performance barrier, and I know the NDAs are lifted, and the social media is just going buzz over Vega RX. So I have something special for you, okay? Before you leave the stage, so let me get that to you. This is actually a special card just made for you inside this. Okay? This is world's first Vega Nano inside this box. Okay?
Whoa.
And so Tim, you can open it up and take a look. Actually, like, yeah.
Oh, that's a serious lock it has there. Okay. Whoa. Really protecting it. Oh, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. So this is.
Oh, so yeah, look at that.
This is. I can hold this thing for you.
Wow, look at that. That's quite amazing.
World's first Vega Nano, the Tim Sweeney edition, right in there. This is for you, but for the amazing, fan you have been for Threadripper, we're not done yet with surprises, Tim.
Okay.
If I can hold this for you.
Okay.
And,
good idea.
We'll get it back to you. I also have a Threadripper for you in its full packaging. This is the
That's awesome.
full 16-core, 32-thread processor for you to put that special Vega Nano to use. We'll send you more Vega Nanos or more full Vega cards too. But anyway, Tim, thank you for supporting us, and thank you for pushing the technologies forward.
Yeah, thank you very much, Raja.
Thank you. Okay, we can't top that. I don't know what to do after Tim Sweeney. Okay. You guys want to start drinking? No? So the amazing, the CPU, GPU, and software innovation, right? You saw what's happening on the game engines. You saw what Tim and his team are doing to push the thing forward. Like I said at the beginning, I have amazing number of products to launch tonight, and also amazing number of demos to show, okay? So let me breeze through it. The first thing is Threadripper, okay? And man, the thing I love about that, the first thing I love about that, I know many of you do, is the name. Isn't Threadripper awesome? Isn't Threadripper awesome? It's amazing, great name. And for a GPU guy, I'm such a huge fan of CPUs because some of you know, right? We GPU guys hate being CPU bound. We want faster CPUs, right? So that they can keep pumping commands faster and faster. Now, let me play the next video of the introducing Threadripper to you. Let's go to the Threadripper video. Ladies and gentlemen, let me welcome General Manager of Ryzen Threadripper, Kevin Lensing. I don't know how he landed that title, but man, I'd love to be General Manager for Ryzen Threadripper. Kevin, how did you land the title?
I don't know. I got lucky. Right place, right time, I guess.
So walk us through your product.
I'd love to. So thank you for having me, by the way. So Threadripper is a special product. And really, I want to first talk about who we built it for. Because what's great is many of the people that we built it for are in the audience. This is the perfect audience for this product. Because this is the product for people who demand the most compute out of their desktop systems. They want the most cores and threads. They need the most memory for those wide data sets. They need the most I/O and storage, 1, 2, 3 NVMEs, and then large-scale storage behind that. And then, of course, they want many, many GPUs. And Threadripper supports up to 4 GPUs. So we made this product for those who are pushing the envelope of desktop computing. And our flagship product with the Ryzen Threadripper lineup is called the 1950X. So the 1950X, of course, is 16 cores and 32 threads. You've heard that a few times. But it's also really, really fast. It's a 3.4 gigahertz base frequency, boosts up to 4 gig. And even if you have good enough cooling, it has a special XFR boost up to 4.2 gigahertz, which is just a great experience. And then the other thing we did with Threadripper is we wanted to deliver the most high-end platform ever brought to the PC space. So to do that, we have more PCIe lanes than any PC has ever had. 64 PCIe lanes, so you can hook up to 4 of those Vega graphics cards, and you can do anything you want from the storage and GPU side, all the peripherals, with all that maximum amount of I/O. And maybe best of all is that the performance of this Ryzen Threadripper product, this 1950X, is almost 40% more than Intel's very best CPU. They just launched their Core i9 product, and we outperformed that product at the same price by almost 40%. So truly a groundbreaking product across the board, the flagship 1950X Threadripper. Thank you. But we didn't stop there. So you see here the price, $999 for the flagship. That matches the Intel price, and again, with all of that extra performance. But then we have more price points for you to get into the Ryzen Threadripper platform. We have a 12-core product. Also, this is the first 12-core product ever launched. So we now have 2 products at an unprecedented performance level in desktop. That product, the 12-core 24-thread, sits at $799, so a little more accessible price point to get in the platform. Both of those products will be for sale very, very soon, 10 or 11 days away. August 10th, you'll be able to buy your own Threadripper 1950X or 1920X. But then we have a special part, too, for those who want all of that memory footprint and want that big platform, maybe don't want to spend quite that much money. We have the 1900X, which is an 8-core, 16-thread processor that has all the same I/O, all that same bandwidth capability, still quad-channel memory, and an accessible price point of $549. Thank you. So we like to talk about this product with 3 simple words. They all have real meaning. Unlocked. Why unlocked? Because just like every Ryzen processor, every Ryzen Threadripper has an unlocked clock multiplier, so you can overclock it and play with it. It's unrestrained because we don't defeature our products as you go down the stack. Every Ryzen Threadripper has the same I/O and memory capability, and everything about the product is uncompromising. We push the envelope in every dimension. And to show you that, I'm going to bring up a demo.
Okay. Kevin, I got to pause you. Yeah, let's get to the, before Kevin shows the demo, I do want to say one thing, okay? There is a dirty little secret in the industry, okay? That there are companies that tell you that all of the work in the world, including curing cancer, is being done by GPUs, okay? And there are other companies who will say that, give all the money you have in your pocket to the CPU. But the folks in the content creation community know when you look at your entire end-to-end workflows, there are many workflows that are CPU only. And there are many good reasons for that. We can spend all night long talking about that. And there are many workflows that are GPU only. So the demo you're going to see next is a CPU-only workflow in there, right? And throughout the night, we'll be switching between CPU-based workflows, GPU-based workflows, and all. And I wanted to set that context for you on that thing in there. So take us away.
Yeah, so we're going to look at V-Ray. It's a rendering application, a professional rendering application. And as Raja mentioned, this is a CPU-only workload. It actually has a nice benchmark that you can run. And what you're going to see is we've already finished the render. So what you hopefully saw is that the Ryzen Threadripper product, which is actually on your left, outperformed the Intel product that is on your right by over 20%. So we were able to render out that very high-level image and outperform the Intel flagship product by a good margin. So we're very excited about the capability of the product. We can't wait to get it to market, Raja.
Thank you, Kevin. Congratulations on a great product launch.
Thank you.
And where is my Threadripper?
Oh, you just gave it away.
Thank you, Kevin. So the number of cores and threads on the Threadripper are quite amazing. But my favorite feature of Threadripper is the number of I/O lanes, the number of PCIe lanes. Why? Because I can connect 4 GPUs to that CPU with no switches, no latency, no any other stuff. And that's really excites me. The memory also, right? You can put up to 256 gigabytes of memory on that thing if you have the money. So, both of them are exciting. So, my next guest is going to show you some amazing work they're doing. He's the president and CEO of Maxon. And you might have heard of a tool called Cinema 4D. Yeah? Cinema 4D? Yeah. It's the #1 tool in the broadcast industry for 3D motion graphics. So they have been working with us and optimizing on the Threadripper platform and taking advantage of all the PCIe lanes. So please welcome Paul Babb, the president and CEO of Maxon. So take us away, Paul. You have a new version of Cinebench optimized for multi-GPUs.
Well, we do. Well, mainly we're with our release, our next version, release 19, we're going to be introducing the first steps of our integration of ProRender seamlessly into Cinema 4D. So even though it's just, even though it's just the beginning, those initial efforts, we can introduce cross-platform, deeply integrated GPU rendering, and it supports Cinema 4D standard materials, lights, and cameras.
Along with Cinema 4D, you guys also do the Cinebench, right?
We do. And while I'm really here to talk about our integration of ProRender into Cinema 4D, I do have to mention that your Ryzen Threadripper CPU is getting some incredible Cinebench scores in the early testing that we've seen.
Yeah.
But that combined with what we're doing with ProRender, I don't know if you know ProRender, our integration is scalable. So users will be able to take advantage of the Radeon Vega that will be in the iMac Pros. Or you could take a PC and pack 4 cards in there to maximize your rendering power. Little demonstration?
Yeah, we'll just jump
Omar,
to the demo.
can you hit the render button for me?
Yep.
Awesome. So on the left side, we've got a system with 4 GPUs. And on the right, you've got a system with just 1. Mo's always better, right? Well, you'll notice that the 4 GPU system renders the scene in about 28 seconds. And that's the kind of rendering power that will really make a difference in a production environment.
Like I said, we are talking seconds, right? 28 seconds to get this quality images.
As opposed to the weeks, hours,
weeks,
years.
Hours, and Paul, you've been doing this longer than
Too long. I don't even know what Siggraph this is for me.
And there, right? And what difference does this kind of acceleration make to your users?
It allows artists to be more creative, to produce more iterations for customers. It just opens up opportunities everywhere.
And by the way, just to set the context, the Threadripper and the Vega GPUs were delivered to Maxon literally a couple of weeks ago, right? You got all of this stuff.
Yeah.
And this acceleration, like an almost 3x acceleration from single GPU, was achieved right straight off the bat. And we have lots of tuning to do, lots of optimizations to do together working with Maxon.
This is just the early stages, and you can imagine as we can continue to develop new features, new versions that will get more speed and greater quality.
Paul, thank you. Thank you for your collaboration, and thank you for...
Thank you so much. Hey, I'd like to welcome everybody to go over to the Maxon site tomorrow. There'll be more examples and more information about the integration of ProRender into Cinema 4D, as well as some great new features coming in R19. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul.
Thanks, everybody.
Now, I mentioned, I'm going to start off with CPU, right? My favorite part of the system. But we're now getting to the GPU section. Who wants GPUs? Yeah? Who's here for GPUs? Now, I know the focus so far has been content creation, right? Lots of content creation stuff. We are here at Siggraph, right? We are in the middle of Hollywood here. But there is something major that happened tonight. We lifted the NDA on Vega RX. Okay? Who wants to know more about Vega RX? Who wants to see Vega RX? Right? So I wanted to spend just a couple of minutes on what we have done with Vega RX. Like I was mentioning to Tim, we broke the 10 teraflop barrier for enthusiast gaming. We crushed the competition. We have Vega RX for $399. There is no card that can do what Vega RX can do for gamers. This is quite a GPU. Now, of course, you know all of this already, right? Because it was public like an hour ago. We also have some amazing experience that we have lined up with this Vega RX with FreeSync monitors. Some very high quality FreeSync monitors are coming, and we wanted to encourage you, we wanted to enable you to get into the FreeSync ecosystem. For those of you who haven't upgraded your systems in a while, we wanted to make it really easy for you to get to the Ryzen processors. And we also want to make it really, really easy for you to get the latest and greatest games. So we have some amazing Radeon packs that are available for you all the way from $699 to $499. We also have the standalone graphics cards available for you for $499 and $399. Now, I know some of you want to see a Vega RX, so I do have a Vega RX here. And this is the beautiful Vega RX that we launched yesterday, and we got the NDAs lifted. By the way, that's it. Over 12 teraflop card. That's the $499 card that you see there. So that's on the Vega. Now, it's not just the folks in this audience, in this room, and AMD that's excited about RX Vega. We have all our partners, game developers, and also some of our fans who got to experience Vega firsthand are very thrilled, and they wanted to share some of their thoughts. And the next video is our RX Vega enthusiasm. So let's play the RX Vega video.
I just got my Vega. The first thing that I'm going to do tonight when I get home is I'm going to play Prey with it.
I'm really looking forward to Far Cry 5. Since the teaser, that game looks stunning.
For quick shoot 'em up fun, I'm really looking forward to Quake Champions. RX Vega is going to play all of those titles really, really well.
For a gamer, stepping up to a Vega card is like having terrible vision and putting on a pair of glasses for the very first time. Like you thought you were seeing before, but you weren't.
You take a top-line product, and the price to performance value there is just amazing.
Yeah, I can't wait for Vega. As soon as you guys release one, I want one in my hand.
With 240 hertz and FreeSync on, it felt like I was in the game again.
There are over 200 features on Vega. We put into the architecture the building blocks that will shape our next 20 years.
We know that there are gamers out there that want us to push the envelope. They have high expectations for us, and so we set the bar incredibly high. We want to be able to dream, and AMD lets us do that.
You should choose and care about Vega if you want to make sure that your games are being played the way they were meant to be.
Turn up all your quality settings. Run your games in their fullest glory. Get a glass with FreeSync. And the best GPU to drive that is Vega. That's it. That's the simple answer. That's it. That's really the simple answer. Like I said, we will talk about RX Vega in many, many places. But let's get back to the focus area, Siggraph. What is Vega for professionals? What are we doing with Vega for content creation? What are we doing with Vega for the design and manufacturing industry? Last year, like I said at Siggraph, we unveiled brand new strategy for addressing the professional market. We completely reset our pro graphics line last year, and it was amazing progress that we made. We gained share, we gained revenues, and we launched our Pro WX cards last year. But we left a gap. We delivered on performance workstations. We gained market share in performance workstations. But many of you asked us, we need more. We need ultra performance workstations. Creators have no limits. They want more than what we had last year. And my general manager for Radeon Pro, Augie Burkich, kept asking me, Raja, I need something. Give me something. Give me something bigger. Give me something better. And as I told before, Vega was an architecture we built to scale across, from gigabytes to petabytes of workloads. So Vega was the right answer for us to build an entirely new product line for ultra-performance workstations. So without further ado, let me introduce our Radeon Pro Vega for workstations. Let's play the video. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Augie Burkich, the General Manager for Professional Graphics Business at AMD. He is a proud man. I can't we need a plastic surgery to remove the smile on his face since he got a Vega. So you got something to show, and you want the clicker. He wants to talk about his product. I can't stop him to talk about his baby. Okay, please, Augie.
So we had a great year last year with Radeon Pro.
First, show them what you got.
We had a great year with the Radeon Pro last year.
Okay.
I did ask you last year something was missing. It was that ultra high performance workstation product. I asked for your help, and you delivered. Okay. You delivered Vega.
Yeah. It usually works the other way, but okay, you see the thing in there,
Ladies and gentlemen, Radeon Pro WX 9100 based on revolutionary Vega architecture.
I get the box?
You get a box.
Can I keep it?
You can keep it. That's for you. Radeon Pro WX 9100 delivers 12.3 teraflop of signal precision, supports 6 displays at 4K resolution, and also comes with HDR support. It has 16 gigabytes of high bandwidth cache driven by HBM2 memory, and also supports ECC. It has a huge 484 gigabit per second memory bandwidth for efficient movement of massive amount of data. But it's not just about the great hardware. In the last few years, we have been working with the software developers to enable a robust software ecosystem. Radeon Pro products are certified for all major professional applications. And we continue investing in the vibrant, open source community which drives innovation and progress. The result of these engagements are GPU Open, Radeon Open Compute Platform, and Radeon Pro Renderer. The last enthusiast pro graphics product we had was Fire Pro W9100, way back in 2014. As you can see above, across many workloads, from VR to design to rendering, Radeon Pro WX9100 can be up to 110% faster than the last generation. But more than just performance, we can also do things with WX9100 that no one else can do. And my favorite feature in the Vega architecture is HBCC, high bandwidth cache controller. Should we show them what HBCC can do?
Yes, we will show it. But before we show it, let me tell you what, so that everybody understands what we're going to show. So about a couple of years ago, when we started on this journey of revamping our professional graphics strategy, one of the things we said, hey, we should be partnering much more closer with the content creation community and the people who actually make great content. And one of such partnerships that we have done is with this amazing, amazing film franchise from India that broke several records. The film is called Bahubali, if you haven't heard. And the demo you're going to see utilizes a huge, huge data set that was built for the film. But before we show the demo, I just wanted to play the video about this amazing film. Let's play the Bahubali video. You want us to come back to the demo? OK. We'll come back to this demo. Omar needs some time loading his stuff up. We'll come back to this demo. Augie, why don't we come back when we do the SSG demos?
Absolutely.
Thank you, Augie.
Thanks to the Vega architecture.
I got a card. I promised you at the beginning, and you heard from Lisa, right? We are going from solving gigabyte problems to terabyte problems to petabyte problems and all. And last year, right. We'll come back to, I'm supposed to tell you the pricing and availability of this beautiful card. This card is available for $21.99, but let me come back to this because you need to see the full stack to understand the significance of this. And also the demo. So we'll come back to this. Bear with me, because there is another exciting product. That's the SSG. Last year at Siggraph, we introduced this technology called SSG. What did we do? We put terabytes of non-volatile memory right next to the GPU. Why did we do that? We wanted to enable workflows that requires terabyte data sets, whether it is 8K video editing, whether it is 4K video editing, which also can't fit if you have large number of seconds or minutes, and workflows that have been using light fields and many other workflows that you all know where you need your terabytes. Now, what have we done in the last 12 months since we announced the technology? we've been working with the ISV community to enable support for SSG across many tools. That's number one. Number two, we integrated the SSG technology with Vega architecture. And combined with Vega's high bandwidth cache controller, the capabilities of SSG, they're almost like quadrupled. And using the page migration mechanisms of Vega, we could make the software much more seamless for many, many more applications. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm proud to introduce Vega SSG card, and let's look at this video that takes you through the Vega SSG.
This is something unique in conception. It can focus on the minute, microscopic detail while seeing the bigger picture from all angles, simultaneously. It learns, adapts, grows, and evolves. It can shape, mold, and define the world it inhabits. Tenacious and exacting, it wields ferocious power at an unfathomable scale. A perpetual force enabling the art of the impossible. This is Radeon Pro SSG.
So we'll see the Vega SSG
Hey,
card.
boss, you gave us the Vega architecture, okay? It's your 20th anniversary of Siggraph. I have a special present for you. I have a Radeon Pro SSG in a very special package, very unique, only for you.
Oh, this looks beautiful. This looks beautiful. I was going to go get a card, but I didn't expect this beautiful package here. You want to see what's inside? Yeah? You want to see what's inside? So what's inside is Radeon Pro SSG. If you can see it, if I'm holding it in the right angle, in there, is good? Yeah, more light, light, light. People want light. Yeah. So there's the beautiful card inside, and maybe they would, I should learn how to put it back in if I take it out, right? It's the beautiful Radeon Pro Vega SSG card. The beautiful blue, the non-toxic blue we introduced last year to differentiate from other forms of blue that you see in the industry. Let me put it back in, and let me walk you through what this beautiful card is capable of. The first thing, I need to find a place for it. My toy collection is increasing. I don't have space. There. I don't want to kill this iPad here, which has a use in a little bit. Okay. There are a couple of demos I want to show what this beautiful card can do with 2 terabytes of SSD. The first one is a light field rendering demo in real time. So let's switch to the light field demo. This is our demo crew just quickly put together with the thing in there, right? You got the labels reversed. That's what happens. It's an IQ test. So can you tell which is SSG, which is not SSG? They remove the labels now? Okay. That's fully controlled by our AV team. They can do real-time label switching. That's also enabled by SSG. So that's demo 1. The demo 2, for demo 2, let's, I have a special guest. This is actually the highlight of today's program. I want to invite on stage the president and CEO of Red Camera, Jared.
Thank you.
Good to see you. So this is going to be fun, actually, with Jared.
Oh, yes.
In there. Yeah. Jared wanted me to come with flip-flops, too, by the way.
You had them.
I had them.
Changed.
I had them before. Jared, red is revolutionary in many, many ways. Okay, by the way, we have red team, right? Is that red team?
I heard you have
Is there
your own
still
red team.
Are there red team members? Can you shout out? It's like, how many red team? Like, no? Are you guys sleeping? There? So I don't know what to ask you because you saw the SSG first.
Yeah, I saw
4 days ago.
Your team they invited themselves over really a few weeks ago. And they told me, you know, we've been making 8K cameras. This is one of them, the Red Weapon 8K. We've been making them for a couple years now, and we
can I see it?
Of course you can. Okay. We've been kind of on this 8K path, which is really important for a number.
So why 8K? I mean, what's
There's a
need
bunch
for
of
8K?
8K is just like 4K was important 10 years ago when we came out. 8K is the next logical step. We've kind of been stepping there: 4K, 5K, 6K, 8K. There's a number of reasons for oversampling for VFX work, but we kind of thought we were on that path alone. I've seen a little bit of the SSG that you announced last year about 8K, but it wasn't really as real as it was a couple of weeks ago once you brought Vega into the mix. And so you guys came over, introduced themselves, told me that they could do 8K in real time through the new SSG. I thought they were full of shit, to be honest with you. I said, prove it. And they did. And that's why I'm here.
Yeah. Yep. That's, by the way, this is
Sorry.
totally true. You know, that's what Jared said. Hey, I will show up. And actually, not only he showed up, but he showed up with his $50,000 camera in there. You know, I shouldn't drop it.
Well, you know, it's actually important. You know, forgetting about what Red does and how great Red is and how great AMD is, the reason I'm really here, and I'm glad you're holding that camera. I want to give that to you as a token of, not just from Red, but from the creative community, because you guys really, honestly, truly came in and you give a and you really do. And you're never, they have a little beep, beep, beep. And I don't take care of that, don't worry. But it's really important. You know, the content creators, the creative community, it's a small group, especially in Hollywood, which I don't think you've talked about that part yet. Yeah. But it's a small group, high maintenance. We're all a pain in the ass. But what we're doing, we feel is important. And for you guys to show up and commit yourself and your whole team, and that's the other part, the team that you guys, that I've just been introduced to, they have the same passion and drive, expertise that we do.
We are passionate about you know, these things, Jared, but people are waiting to see the first 8K video editing in real time.
Yes.
So should we show it to them?
Thank you.
Okay.
You have that?
Omar, will you get the labels right this time? Okay, what are we looking at here? Okay, you guys can see it, right? So the one on the left is with SSG. You know, I have to see. And there.
It's really, really hard to do that. 8K isn't twice as much as 4K. It's four times.
It's 4 times.
4K.
Basically, you know, for them to be able to see, like I said, by the way, investing in high-end production workflow, right? You know, to do the films, and it's an expensive proposition.
Yep.
And you get into it, you need the entire rig to be able to do something smooth. And what they're dealing with is what you had on the right side and what you have on the left. And this is, by the way, literally, we took this to Jared and his team 3 days ago?
Yep.
3 days ago, okay. And their codec, red codec is special codec in there, right? So we had to optimize, we had to get it up and running and all of this stuff. This is what the team did in 2 days with, with this stuff. We have a lot of work to do with them, and we'll optimize the end-to-end production workflow. But Jared, before you leave, okay?
Yes.
Before you leave, I know you gave it to me, this red camera. This is, man, the mic toy chest in there.
I gave that to you because you're bragging about how great you're playing 8.
Right.
But now you need to prove it.
But we were talking about, right? Yes. We were talking about our common goal is we want to get kind of cool stuff like this, really cool stuff like this, and really cool, if I can lift it with my one hand, okay? Really cool stuff like this into the hands of you, the creators, right? That's what is our common goal. So what I wanted to do is something special. Something special. We wanted to get somebody who is a creator onto the stage and give them both of these tools. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me welcome India's #1 film director, S.S. Rajamouli, onto the stage. And the stuff. You met Jared?
Of course.
Okay. So we will hand it over to him. Should we hand it over to you, or do you want to say anything before we hand it?
I would like to say a few words with that in my hand.
Okay. Okay. This is from Jared.
Yes. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Jared. And good evening, everyone. And thanks a lot for everyone at AMD and Radeon, first of all, for helping us to achieve an impossible dream called Bahubali. Thank you very much for that. And thank you, Jared, for this fantastic, wonderful gift. Not just because it's $50,000. I'm a film director, and I have a penchant for doing action films. And I'm known to design special weapons for my protagonists. And today, when I have this red weapon in my hand, it makes me very, very powerful. It makes me very, very powerful, and I hope this powers my dreams to be even more bigger. Thanks a lot. Thank you, everyone.
Hold on. Actually, with him on stage, he just landed literally 5 hours ago from India. Okay, so he's like came off the airport. And we didn't actually know whether he was going to make it to this event or not. So none of this was planned or scripted or anything. But kind of coincidentally, I see Omar with a smiley face there. I think he has the demo that we wanted to do with the Bahubali data set. Are we ready to show it on the screen? So can we show the Bahubali data set running on the Radeon WX 9100? Okay. Yes. So you see, this is a 250 million polygon data set, right? Incredible amount of complexity to load in real time into any workstation, okay? And it is being path traced, real time rendered, and Omar is moving around with this in this data set. Now, if the studio in India that worked on this, if they are watching this real time, they'll be crying with joy. Trust me on this, right? They'll be like, what did you guys do in this stuff, right? It's just they break it up into many small little pieces to work on this, right? I have never seen, and trust me, I know the studio very well. They never seen this entire data set loaded on a single workstation. Okay, this is amazing. Now, I showed you a little bit on WX 9100. It costs $2,000. Now, the most expensive graphics card you can buy today is a $7,000 graphics card from our competitor. Okay, you can, if you have money, you can go buy that card. Now, we are trying to load this data set on the $7,000 competitor's card. Let's see what happens. Okay, let's see what happens there. What do you expect to happen?
I have been seeing this image for years now.
That's what you see. See, that's what high bandwidth cache controller gives you, right? To be able to load these data sets. Now, OK, so, and it's kind of serendipity that we had to have Rajamouli on stage for the Bahubali data set to load, OK, in there. So it all worked out well in the end. But before you leave the stage, we wanted to give, this alone won't solve your problem.
Obviously.
So we will get you this beautiful box as well, right? To take it with you. Don't drop the camera, so and don't drop the SSG.
Yeah.
Okay? These are expensive things. Okay?
Thank you.
Expensive things, sir.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you for being with us. Thank you. Okay, now Jared has an important question to ask. He asked me, and I said I'll answer on the stage. How much does this thing cost, this beautiful SSG thing?
How much does it cost?
Are we saying that? Are we saying? Where is Augie? Augie? Augie, are you around? Augie? Augie? You don't have mic? No mic. OK. The first thing is it's available in September, OK, second week of September, OK? OK, and can I announce the price?
Absolutely, go ahead.
What is it, Augie? What is it?
You can get, in September, Radeon Pro SSG for $69.99.
$69.99, OK? For $7,000, you can enter into the terabyte territory, OK? So that's what we got. Jared, what else do you need? What else do you need from us?
I need a lot of things from you.
You need a lot of things. Okay.
We just met, but
Okay.
I think this is going to be an incredible relationship and long overdue. Both of what you're doing in the CPU and GPU are so critical to our red code and our 8K message. So thanks for having me here.
Yep.
Sorry for the profanity. That's me.
Thank you, Jared. Thank you.
But thank you for having
awesome.
me.
Thank
and
you.
I'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. So we have one other SSG-related announcement to make. That's, oh, you saw the pricing is there. OK. Dell, our wonderful, wonderful, wonderful partner. They are super. This is a statement from Dell. Dell is excited to bring Radeon Pro SSGs to market with our latest precision workstation. So you can also get Radeon Pro SSG through Dell Precision Workstations. And they'll be awesome, awesome for your 8K monitors. They support 8K monitors and also for editing your 8K content. So a lot of things. We announced a huge array of products. They are kind of, so many small icons. Even the software enablement that we have done, they're also products for us. We treat software equivalent with hardware. Now, I have one other special announcement to make. We want to commit to the media and entertainment industry. We want to make it really, really easy for you to use all of these wonderful technologies. Okay? So to do that, we are taking a solutions approach that you can work with a single entity inside AMD. You can call one person that can enable you with all this array of technology, solve your problems without having to call 50 people inside AMD for different things in there. So I'm proud to announce a new initiative, a new group. We are setting up a new group called AMD Studios. And to tell you more about AMD Studios, please welcome my friend Roy Taylor back on stage.
Wow, I've waited for this moment, I feel like my entire life. Before I start and tell you a bit more about the studio, however, I want to make an apology to a lot of you. Whilst we've been sat here, what we have not been doing is seeing how Khalees is doing. As we've been sat here, she's on a dragon on the way to Westeros to have a chat with Cersei. And of course, we missed that. And it seems apt to mention dragons because, first of all, they're not actually real. But we think they're real, and that's the magic of film. And yet, actually, dragons are extremely difficult to render and to create. But we've got there at this point through an evolution in how the digital pipeline has come together. Back in 1990, we started with post-production effects, bigger, better explosions. And then around about 1996 or so, we started to see computers used for pre-visualization, where you could create a scene in a game engine and save time and money on set. And then, sometime later, we started to see computers used for virtual production. And around that time that happened, what we actually started to see a glimpse of is an end-to-end digital pipeline. And as we see that, of course, today there are many gaps and bottlenecks in that pipeline, but we start to see the beginning of a real change. Now, this week in Siggraph, you're going to hear a lot about the use of game engines in production for film and television. And we think that what this is bringing to us is a really big change, a sea change, a change from offline rendering to real-time rendering. And these changes are going to be wonderful, but they're also going to bring a lot of challenges, a lot of challenges. For example, if we want to go into real-time rendering and real-time situations, but we want to put actors and actresses into those scenes, then we better do it in a way that the actor and the actresses are going to be comfortable with. And that means we're going to need to invent new forms of capture. We already have volumetric capture, and we've seen the beginnings of some really, really great light field capture. But those are going to bring fresh challenges. We're also going to see the beginning of the use of artificial intelligence in animation, and machine learning, which will bring us intelligent tools. But we don't know what we don't know. What I have realized since living in Hollywood is that many times the creators, the storytellers, will become excited about new technology, and they won't feel inhibited about using it. But sometimes they'll create questions and come up with fresh challenges for us. And so we think that it's important to be here with them, and that's why we're doing studios. I'm pleased to tell you we put together a team of people that are from the film industry, have worked in the film industry, with credits that include Avatar, I Am Legend, Spider-Man, and the BFG. And so we're very excited about what we're doing here today. So as part of that, what we want to do is to make sure that the things that we invent and the things that we put together are available to everybody without restriction. We believe that proprietary standards and proprietary software and technologies are the enemy of innovation. And so all of the things that we do, all of the things that we invent and bring together with you, we're going to make them available with open source, available to everyone. Thank you. What 10,000 people can do is one thing. What 100,000 or 1 million people can do is even more. Now, 1 year ago, when we were at Capsaicin, we promised the Blender community that we would work with Blender and produce some wonderful results. And 1 year later, I'm pleased and proud to say that here at Siggraph, we're going to show Blender running optimized on AMD hardware with phenomenal results. Thank you. We also, 1 year ago, I was privileged to have Alex Mahon, the CEO of the Foundry, on stage. And we committed, we will work together with the Foundry to bring an OpenCL version of Nuke. And 2 hours ago, I was on stage with Alex and her team to announce that Nuke 11 with OpenCL runs beautifully and wonderfully on AMD hardware. Thank you very much. Thank you. And with that, I'm going to hand back over to our President and CEO, Dr. Lisa Su.
Are we on? Have you had a great night so far? Let's see, so do we have to vote for favorite products? Is it Ryzen Threadripper? We have Radeon Vega RX. sounds like we might have a few gamers in the house. That's good. How about Radeon Pro Vega? How about SSG? How about a huge round of applause for our partners who've joined us on stage tonight? Look, we've had a fantastic time tonight, but we didn't want to stop here because we wanted to give you just one more thing. And one of the things that I'd like to say about AMDers is we are incredibly ambitious about what we can do with technology. And it's really the power of our portfolio that allows us to do something that can't be done today. And so I really challenged the team to say, hey, what can we do that would be really, really special and incredibly ambitious? And so we really wanted to see where we could take our products. What's the next big performance lever that we could put in? And we decided that the right point was a petaflop of performance. Petaflop, how does that sound? So, look, let me just give you a little bit of perspective on the computing horsepower for a petaflop. It's actually 1 quadrillion operations per second if you're doing a petaflop of computing. And truly, you mostly talk about petaflops in the context of supercomputers and things like mapping the human genome or predicting weather patterns or doing something, simulating something extremely complex. That's what people say when they talk about petaflop computers. And to give you just a little bit of history for those of you who followed AMD, in 2008, we worked really closely with IBM to build the Roadrunner supercomputer that combined 6,500 dual-core AMD Opteron CPUs and 13,000 accelerators to become the first supercomputer to break that petaflop barrier. And at the time, it was actually the highest performing computer in the world. Now, we actually originally launched Opteron in 2003, so it took us 5 years to get to a petaflop with technology at that time. Now, a lot has really happened since then, and frankly, we've made a lot of advances in technology. And so I asked the team to figure out what will it take for us to get to a petaflop today, and this time using our EPYC CPUs and our Radeon Instinct GPUs. So, what's so different today? If you really think about it, EPYC and Radeon Instinct are great products by themselves, but what we actually did over the last several years is architect this system together. Architect the EPYC CPUs plus the Radeon Instinct GPUs with the idea that we could put together an extremely flexible and extremely compact and very, very energy efficient platform that integrates CPUs, GPUs, memory, and I/O in the most efficient manner possible. And this type of computing system is really designed for GPU-intensive workloads. So whether you're talking about machine learning, deep learning, AI applications, or some of these rendering these incredible data sets, our engineers worked very, very closely with a couple of partners, including Inventec, Mellanox, and Samsung, to put together a system that could really demonstrate a petaflop of performance. So, you will be absolutely amazed at what we have been able to do in just a few short months since we announced these products. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight I am incredibly excited to show you for the very first time a petaflop computer with EPYC and Radeon Instinct together, the Inventec P47. So, do you guys love that or what? This may be the most beautiful server rack that has ever been built. I might be slightly biased, just slightly. But in this single rack, what we have is 20 AMD EPYC CPUs, 80 Radeon Instinct GPUs, and over 10 terabytes of DDR4 memory. And ladies and gentlemen, this guy delivers 1 petaflop of single precision computing. And if you really think about that, it's an incredible amount of horsepower in this beautiful form factor. Servers are beautiful? I think what makes this system so special is really the efficiency that comes from the ability to connect every EPYC CPU directly to 4 Radeon Vega GPUs without the need for a lot of additional switching components and other things that really allow this form factor. Now, I am incredibly proud of the team that put this together. Frankly, it's only been a couple of months since we have really started this project. But we wanted to show you what a petaflop computer can do. So this is the actual form factor. But it turns out, believe it or not, this theater doesn't do so well for the amount of power and cooling capabilities that you need for something like this. So we actually have our working server that's back at our headquarters in Silicon Valley, and we're going to access that live here through the cloud. So to see that, let me bring Raja back to finish up the show with just a few more demos with our P45 system. Raja?
A server rack. We'll do that after the party. Whoever wants to join me in hugging the server rack, this is a beautiful, beautiful rack. You know, like this 20 years of crazy journey in computer graphics, there is one thing that keeps giving adrenaline rush. That is doing crazy live demos of pieces of hardware that only been powered on days ago. This machine that we're going to show you was, I swear to you, was powered on 3 days ago, okay? And we'll show you some cool stuff. But first, to show you that it is real, we have, let's switch to the Skype. We have a Skype session going on with the lab. We have the Skype window of the engineers that work on this stuff from the Sunnyvale lab there, okay? So we have put together a couple of wonderful things. The first one is what I call a virtualized studio, an entire studio virtualized on this petaflop rack. So some of you may be familiar with this concept of virtualization, where you can take your entire workstation experience, right, your entire workstation experience, end-to-end workstation experience, and put it on a server and have a remote access and have all your tools, all your data, everything sitting on the server and be accessible anywhere and everywhere. So we have 4, I'd call it thin clients, portable clients that are put here. The first one is a Dell notebook. Okay, can we show the Dell notebook? Okay, it's running Maya on the petaflop rack. And let's, the second machine we have is a thin client from HP, okay? And it's running Blender on the Sunnyvale rack. And the third machine we have is a MacBook Air, okay? MacBook Air is running which application? New, okay? And then we have an iPad here running Adobe Premiere Pro. The full applications, these are not, apps. These are the full suite of applications in there. And in fact, Omar will show you that you can actually interact with these things. Are you playing the Adobe Premiere Pro? Yeah, so you can interact. It's the full production flow. Now, what is significant about this demo that we're showing here on this rack? Each GPU can support up to 16 users. This rack with 80 GPUs can support 1,280 Vega sessions, 1,280 simultaneous users can be supported on this rack. So that is like taking a medium-sized studio, right? Your entire set of workstations, and put it in the cloud, protect your data, and enable all your artists, all your designers to work from anywhere. If you're a member of a studio, if you're an executive of a studio, you got to really take a look at this thing. The next demo I have, I think this is probably a record in there. We are going to use all of the 80 GPUs. So what you saw in the previous demo was basically, time slicing the GPUs for many tasks. So what if we want to use all of the 80 GPUs, the whole petaflop, for one task? Your favorite task, which is rendering. Can we render, right, a photorealistic image if we use all of the GPUs simultaneously? And this morning, the team was able to launch a full photorealistic render on this 80 Vega GPUs. So Omar, show us what the 80 GPUs are doing. So they are rendering this beautiful photorealistic looking motorcycle on the GPU. So as he's updating, all of the data, right, from each node is coming across network back to it. So the update delay that you see is all network delay. Now, those of you in the rendering community know how long it takes for you to get a frame of this quality render back from a server, right? How long does it take? Minutes, seconds, hours? Too long. Yes, that's the right answer. And we are able to update this thing. So this is the world's first petaflop render that you saw live from the Sunnyvale studio. Anything else you want to show, Omar? OK, so that's, thank you, Omar. So, we are redefining high-performance computing. We are redefining high-performance computing for the content creation community. It's amazing amount of products, amazing amount of technologies, amazing amount of solutions, partnerships that we have showcased tonight.